Well, there's two things I really liked about this chapter. The first one was Zoro and his attitude about taking down ores no matter what, and the second was the explanation of why Kuma is there. One Piece, chapter 474, we have to do it! What?
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and adventure-filled and warlord Bartholomew Kuma appearing a couple chapters ago, Tale of One Piece. Now, of course, preceding those events, or following the events from the last chapter, which was Kuma showing up and of course, looking for Moria. I'm not exactly sure what his powers are yet. I just know he's a big, menacing, imposing-looking character, and we know certainly that he's the real deal, as he is one of the Shichibukai, and certainly the 7 warlords, at least the ones that I have seen and seen in action so far, have been pretty formidable opponents. So, anyways, certainly all of our Straw Hats minus Luffy and Nami were attacking Oars and trying to keep him busy as long as they could too. So anyway, that's where things left off though, and things wind up actually picking up right there, where basically everybody's kind of going at Oars the best they can, and you get this sort of argument between everyone where it's like, hey, should we just we should just keep him busy for a while, And Zoro's like, listen, dude, because I think it's Usopp that's saying, listen, you don't need to expend all that energy trying to go and take this thing down. If you take him down, the only thing that's going to happen is his shadow, Luffy's shadow, is going to return to him. But Luffy's the one that's tracking down Moria, and he's going to take care of him, so it'll return all of our shadows. Obviously, Sanji and Zoro as well. So he's saying, hey, don't burn all your energy out. Don't burn yourself out on this fight when you could just kind of distract him and keep him busy. And Zoro's like, listen, Luffy, and this is where some of my opinion comes in about Zoro, in a lot of ways being a little bit sharper and more headstrong in certain ways than Luffy is, and realizing that Luffy sometimes can be a dumbass. Because he even says, he goes, sometimes he gets tricked, he's easily led on things, and that's Luffy. He's just got that genuine childlike nature to him, but you can pull the wool over his eyes very easily a lot of times. So, so he says, listen, if that happens, at least what we can do, all we can do right now is try to take out this beast so at least Luffy can get his shadow back. Because they know that if the sun breaks, if the sun comes out overhead, that they're fucked. They're completely done, that they'll just melt away and there'll be nothing more of them. So I really like the attitude, that Zoro has. It's like, listen, we can't control the whole situation, the whole fight, but should something happen to Luffy, instead of all of us burning up, all 3 of us here, at least we can go and we can save Luffy's, because that's what we have in our control right now. Handle our business. And that's what I liked about it, because Zoro's very matter-of-fact in the sense of, let's not get involved in other people's business. I can't control whether Luffy gets sidetracked looking for meat, or whether he gets tricked, or whether he loses, God forbid, whatever, or, something along those lines. I can control what I can do, though, which is taking care of this beast, So anyway, as they go to start going at him and whatnot, we get a little bit of a kind of a cut back to the whole, Moria, and of course we know Kuma was looking for him. So anyway, we wind up seeing this great double-page spread where both of them are standing there, both these huge, tall, imposing figures. And again, I don't know what Oda's deal is with, size differentials with characters, but these guys just are drawn and just look terrifyingly just huge and menacing, like twice the size, maybe 3 times the size of a normal human, 15, 20 feet, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. So anyway, these 2 dudes are just standing there kind of toe to toe. And the whole reason that Kuma came there, first of all, Moria's like, what's your business type of thing, He winds up making fun of Kuma, saying that he's the only one of the warlords that actually really listens unconditionally to the government. He's a government dog, is what he calls him, basically. And Kuma doesn't really respond to that at all. He just asks him, he says, where would you like to go for a vacation? That's the same thing that he asked Perona right before she wound up disappearing. So his power obviously has something to do with that. Or some of his power does, because Moria even says, don't start that shit with me. I already know your power, Kuma, Why are you here? Are you here to fight me? Or are you here? Kuma winds up telling him he was sent there by the world government. And, basically what the idea is that first of all, he wants to give him the news that they've replaced one of the warlords. Obviously, the missing warlord spot from the events in Alabasta with Crocodile being removed. Blackbeard has actually been, Marshal D. Teach has been named as the replacement. Even though he was unknown and didn't have a bounty, he proved himself and his abilities. And I'm assuming that would probably be because of the events that we saw on Bannerol Island with Ace.
I don't know, though, because he never did obviously capture Luffy or bring him to him or anything else. So I'm not really sure what that situation ended like. Maybe he wound up being able to capture Ace somehow and bring him there. We haven't seen that yet. Nonetheless, though, so he is now the 7th Warlord, or the newest Warlord. And Moria's like, oh, great, so that's going to, like, restore the balance of power, right? And Kuma's like, no, actually, the exact opposite is my feeling. He was told to come there just to basically warn Moria that, following the events of Eni's Lobby, the world government is pretty shaken up about Luffy and the Straw Hat crew, that if they're on their way to Fishman Island, that they might come across Moria and basically take out another one of the 7 warlords, right? And they don't want to have to worry about having to replace somebody else. So then Moria's like, well, what, did they send you here to team up with me and everything? He goes, no, I was just told to come here and give you the information. But all you need to do is ask, and I can give you my assistance, my help, But Moria's very much like, screw you, I got this under control. The Straw Hats are done. I got their shadows. One of them's in this giant beast ores. The sun's about to come up. They're fucked, right? The typical villain monologue and like over-exaggeration of everything, over-explanation, and really just kind of having an overconfidence in their plan and what they have going on, right? So anyway, we wind up going and seeing towards the end of the chapter over here as it goes back to the fight, with ores and everything like that and what's happening with that. Nami still is not there yet, but at the end of the chapter, I thought it was pretty cool. They wind up going and actually sending Usopp. They're like, we're going to need more salt to take this thing down. Moria winds up actually appearing, and he's inside of Or's stomach, right? Almost like he's controlling it like a robot. Now, keep in mind, Or's is just a husk. It's just a shell. It's a zombie. It doesn't feel any pain, whatever. So he hollowed out a spot in his stomach, I guess, and Moria's hanging out in there, right? And he's going to take out the Straw Hats now. Luffy, we get a brief glimpse of him, and he did. He wound up, he was chasing Moria's shadow for a while. He wound up losing the shadow. He doesn't know where the hell he is. He's lost. The sun's about to come up. Luckily it's foggy, but the sun's breaking through. They wind up finding out that they're actually out of the Florian Triangle now, where it's always kind of dark and misty and whatnot. So luckily it's still foggy, but the sun is risen or is about to rise, and basically everybody is on death's doorstep. At least anybody that is missing their shadow. So certainly, obviously, the ones we care about would be Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. But anyway, what I liked is at the end of the chapter, they wind up sending Usopp, get some salt. We're going to need a lot of salt. Find a kitchen. We're going to need a whole shitload of salt to take down this ores, right? Because that's what they're going to do, because Zoro is leading them, and that's what he says to do. And he winds up, Usopp gets cut off, gets nailed or whatever, gets hit. Ores is able to take him out before he's able to get there. But then what I thought was kind of cool is we wind up having Brook appearing. And Brook we haven't seen now for a while. I don't know, 5, 10 chapters, whatever it's been. And Brook winds up appearing, and he's like, hey, I got a big bag of salt with me too, and he winds up saving Usopp from certain doom. So very cool chapter. Done very well as far as setting things up for the chapters to come, and I'm certainly very excited and ready to go into the next one over here. So my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is what were your thoughts on Zoro and his kind of proclamation, his speech at the beginning about, hey, listen, instead of just trying to slow this dude down and putting all our eggs in one basket, counting and relying on Luffy 100%, let's take this thing out. So at the very, very least, if absolute worst case scenario, Luffy gets his shadow back, even if he and Sanji wind up dying, I thought that was pretty cool. Let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to follow me on Facebook and Twitter for more.